Hello and welcome to my new video. I decided to do another one about my dancing poke. I was asked about my FPV experience with it and also what I have done to make it a bit better than originally planned. You may have seen my video about the Mariposa last year. I wanted a slow and very relaxing model for FPV that can also fly by its own without much piloting. It turned out the Mariposa looked the way it would do that, but it didn't. It needed so much rework and at some point I lost my interest. Now it serves as a toy for my stepdaughter's kids. The dancing poke fills the desired role now much better than the Mariposa could. I bought my dancing poke more than 1 year ago, during the Hobby King Christmas sale event 2015. It was pretty cheap, less than 20 euros, so I decided to give it a go. It was a kit version, just the parts to glue together on your own. But the motor was included. Building it is in fact no problem, but there might be some questions of how to make it right for someone who has never done something like that before. A flying buddy from FPV-treff.de, Sepp, also bought one. But as it turned out later, he did not succeed with it much. Crashed it several times and finally gave up. He also found out that the provided motor was crap, and so did I. His one simply fell apart. Mine caused massive vibrations, so I did not mess around with it much longer. Kicked it out together with a cheap prop adapter and replaced it with a rubber Roxy that I had still laying around. It was way better with that, and now I had a smooth running drive for the poke. Another problem is the soft wing and its mounting with rubber bands. Rubber bands are good, but the wings is so soft and the provided reinforcements is simply ridiculous. So I took some of my good quality 1mm plywood and reinforced both front and rear edge of the wing. Now I can let it mount it for a long time without the rubber eating into the material. By the way, while building it I decided to give it less dihedral on the wingtips. I knew it would look cooler. And I did not worry about the flight characteristics. I am an experienced RC pilot and I don't need that much of self-stabilization in flight. Next thing was the soft fuselage. Especially in front of the pilot seat, I knew I would be touching and taking the plane always there. And I also knew it would wear out and maybe also tear out the material one day. I also knew I want to mount a backpack for FPV behind the pilot seat, and I would also need some reinforcement there. Another problem had to be addressed there. The big opening behind the cockpit would most likely cause serious aerodynamic problems. The airstream would get in there and cause a massive air brake. So I decided to reinforce the rear with some insulation foam. That is often called pink foam in US videos. It would stop everything from flexing and also closes the wide opening. For the front I used glass fiber reinforced tape that I stuck on alongside the curve of the cockpit. It might stick pretty bad on the material of the plane, so use some elastic foam glue like Uhupor or whatever you can buy in your country to prevent it from falling off. I did not mount the wheels. I am flying this one mostly without anything to start or land on, and the gear would just make it flip over again and again and one day rip it out of the wing. If you want to do the same, I advise you to mount the servos on the upper side of the wing. I did not think enough about that and now I have to protect them from being crushed while landing. Better put them up. Now about the FPV experience. I put my backpack on a mounting platform behind the cockpit. It is made of the same pink foam like the inner reinforcement. It's simply mounted with Velcro. It contains a good camera, a simple OSD with voltage and flight time, and a small eSheen video transmitter. This is my first low-wing FPV model and I can tell I really like the view. The wide-angle lens also gives me a feeling for a long front turtle deck with the engine running in the nose. Since I fly with my Sky Zone goggles, the view is stretched a bit horizontally. It looks good to me and I like it. The dancing poke is more on the slow flyer side, though it can go a bit faster too. But you have to be aware that you need more power since the construction and the materials have a lot of drag, and drag rises exponentially with speed. However, with a 2200 3-cell and moderate throttle I can fly roughly 15 minutes. The poke also does not fly as smooth like my KFM wing would do, but it is also not so much distracting while sitting in the pilot seat. The flight stabilization will help there pretty sure, but I did not mount one yet. After all, I can tell the dancing poke is a nice flyer for classic and FPV flying as well. But you have to hop some loops before the original construction is really fit for all-day use. In my personal experience, it is the same like many other Chinese RC models. Often a good idea, but not really thought to the end. Have fun and thank you for watching.